It's not fucking recording. Are you shitting me? Are you fucking shitting me? Oh, fuck you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is James Steiner, and welcome back to Analogue Hate Stories. So, I didn't realize until I was done reading all 3 logs that, my software for some reason crashed and wasn't recording. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to read all this stuff again, so let's just jump right into it. Brought home. These past few months have left me so very anxious with anticipation. Nearly a year has passed since the wedding ceremony, and before this week, Sung-min had only visited my family once, promising he would bring me home with him for sure the next time. I know I'm supposed to be enjoying living with my parents while it lasts, but all I can think about is my husband. How is a new bride expected to have such patience? For nearly a year, a day hasn't gone by where I haven't thought of how beautiful he thought me in my wedding dress, or how it felt spending the night held so gently in his strong hands, looking forward to the day where I could live in his house. I can't help but feel as anxious in my heart as I am excited in my hips. Reading that again, it just makes it, for some reason, it sounds even worse. Okay? I mean, she's in it for the sex, apparently. That's what, okay, I'm not an idiot by assuming that, am I? I know, it is ungraceful to think of such things, but how can I help myself? You horny, horny girl. In any event, he arrived yesterday to take me with him to his ancestral shrine, and then finally his house. Such luxury I've never seen in my life. A servant to prepare meals, entirely separate women's quarters, and a dining room with a window that shows the stars. My family was hardly all that poor, but a window to the stars? Why did I adopt a fucking accent? How amazing a sight! I knew that I was lucky to have been married into a noble family, but I never realized just how lucky. I wonder if I'll have time to write as much as I used to. Oh, but I must stop for tonight now. I can hear my husband coming. I have been looking forward to this night for so long now. How I hope I can make him happy. Just hearing his footsteps outside the door makes my heart pound. I'm sure that's not all that's pounding. So what do you have to say? By the way, fox ears. I just noticed that much later, about the 3rd or 4th log in, that I realized, oh, those look like cat ears with the way she has her hairdo. I'm a moron. That's actually from before I knew her. It's pretty hard to imagine her as a blushing newlywed, honestly. More than just a newlywed, she was horny. She was an awfully good friend of mine. We chatted a lot. You have to understand, though, she might not have been a very good wife. It's absolutely not her fault. It's like what I reported to my mistress, Ryo Jae Hwa. None of the problems in her marriage were her own fault. She was just the wife of a lousy man, plain and simple. Mostly, she tried to do the best she could. She was a really great woman, so please don't look down on her, okay? Now I'm going to reiterate what I said before. She does not sound like an AI. She sounds like another person that's been downloaded into the computer somehow. Somehow. Laughable situation. What's so laughable? I cannot believe just 2 years ago I was actually excited about moving into the Smith home with my husband. Oh, how shortly that lasted. Oh, God. I find it funny. The first time I realized that I would have to compete for his affection with every common woman and every person he came across, I was so shocked. The first time he brought one home, I cried for a week. And mother-in-law was furious with me, claiming it my fault for not being enough for him. No, he was just a womanizing asshole. Now, I realize the insanity of her reasoning, as if she wouldn't have already known her son was simply that sort of man. The only person who had any right to be shocked was me. Still, I struggled for his attention, but now it is all but banal. If the truth is to be told, this is something I would not tell my mother-in-law, nor Mute, nor least of all my husband. I do not even fight for his affections for his own sake. It is pure selfishness on my part. All I wish is for some indicator that it isn't as though I'm unattractive, that it isn't as though I'm unlikable. Any affection he gets is simply an attempt at fishing that affirmation out of him, and nothing more. What a manipulator. Alright, last one. Daughter. For the past 2 months, ever since it became impossible to hide that she was with child, Jung-mi has been living in our house, and no visitors have been allowed to come in. It was created It has created an incredibly awkward state of affairs. I can hardly stand to be in the same room with that courtesan, let alone live with her. Until recently, so few words have we exchanged. I did not even know her name until the 3rd week of her living here. My husband had made me agree to go along with the fiction that the child is actually mine, which, well, I've yet to give him one myself, so if that is how I am to make up for it, then that is what I'll do. I thought it was going to be so hard to keep up that pretense, to pretend that this child is my own while the real mother lives under the same roof. Yet apparently not. As it turns out, the whole charade has been for absolutely nothing. After all that, the child turned out to be a girl. Of course, I'm sure Jung-mi is quite happy since she's already been bought out, in the hopes that we could pretend her son was mine. But an illegitimate daughter, well, who cares? It would almost be funny, if not for the fact that it means I will have to live with that constant reminder of how little my husband cares for me. Almost, but not really. Even she was playing the political game. High Magistrate Smith Sang-min, huh? Well, as High Magistrate, he was one of the highest-ranking officials until just before the end. What's this end that you're referring to? Seriously, what's this end that she's referring to, okay? How did... God, I already forgot her name. How did the Pale Bride... I'm just going to call her the Pale Bride because I honestly can't remember her name right now. But how did she kill everyone on the ship? Did she do something, or did she set up something to happen that killed everyone on the ship? I have no idea. Or is it just as simply as they abandoned ship and left those 2 knuckleheads here in the computer? Fuck. I don't want to paint a misleading portrait. As I understand, he was a very just man and performed his function quite well. Okay. It was politics that caught up to him in the end. It's like I reported to my mistress, Ryo J. Hua. You keep reporting to this Ryo J. Hua. Tell me who the fuck she is after this is over. He might have been a good magistrate, but his family conduct was less than the pinnacle of virtue. How many wives a man takes is no business but his own, and he never did anything illegal. But knocking up courtesans owned by the court? Man, that's just bad politics. So that's why he lost his position. Years of embarrassment in the family finally culminated in him turning into a real liability for the emperor. But it wasn't always like that. Here, let me try to paint an even portrait of him for you. I've added an assortment of vlogs about him. I hope this gives a good idea of what I mean. So do I, because quite honestly, I hope it's straightforward. Well, then again, most of the stuff has actually been pretty straightforward. It's just there's so many people with conflicting interests that it gets really, really messy. And I think that'll be all for now. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button, share, favorite, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!